Here with us today, we have a violin and a bow from the 19th century. The guest purchased these for $75 at an antique store. The violin was made in Mirecourt, France, around 1900 to 1910. It's a good, typical French commercial violin of the period and comes with a bow made in 1925. The bow was crafted in the Victor Fatigue workshops in Paris. Although the bow shows a lot of player wear, it's still a Victor Fatigue bow. The bow from a great maker, along with a French violin, would probably be worth
about $3,000, $3,500. I think the bow is worth about, as it sits, $5,000. In really great shape, a bow like this should be $15,000.
Brought a piece of Murano glass, which she purchased in 1964. This is actually called an aquarium block. It's a clever item. Within a piece of glass, you have a fish and all its parts.
You have the fish, you have all the parts, and you don't have to feed it.
That's true.
Items like these are pretty famous and designed by Alfredo Barbini, an Italian glass artist and designer from a family of glassmakers.
He became partners with Gino Cenedese, and they started making them around 1950.
Aquarium blocks of these types come in different sizes. Made in 1950, this is one of the smaller ones, and it's really a gem. In today's market, this piece of glass, featuring a fish with beautiful designs, would cost...
Today, it would probably bring between $700 and $900 in a retail store.
Very good, very good.
This guest inherited an atlas from his father. The atlas was published in 1848 by Samuel Augustus Mitchell. Mitchell was an American geographer. Furthermore, opening the book unveils different maps of various states of the United States, including a map of the United States before it acquired some lands that were a part of the Mexican territory.
It wasn't until 1850, a couple years later, that this whole area was divided up.
It also contained a map of Oregon, Upper California, and Texas. However, this atlas has some missing maps. Upon close observation of the book's binding, we can see it has some wear due to the passage of time. This book is one of the most historically significant maps of the United States, estimated to be worth...
The value as a whole would be about $3,200.
I think that's great. I think I will keep it as a complete atlas.
That's great.
And just enjoy it.
Guest presented her grandmother's bracelet, an 18-karat gold bracelet made in Italy in the 1950s. A really great quality example of the use of multicolored gold. It has a 750 marking, indicating its authenticity as Italian gold, also featuring chunky and wide links, giving it a striking look. Despite its age, it's still in very good condition. This 18-karat gold bracelet adorned with chunky and wide links will have a retail value of...
Would be in the neighborhood of $5,500 to $6,500.
Do it. Wow, that's quite a bit.
The guest brought in a 1988 George Nakashima conoid bench, which he purchased years ago, to the show. The conoid bench is an iconic piece of mid-century modern furniture designed by the renowned American woodworker and furniture designer, George Katsutoshi, an American woodworker, architect, and furniture maker who was one of the leading innovators of 20th century furniture design and a father of the American craft movement.
Butterflies add value to George Nakashima furniture. You've got a free edge along the front, you've got a free edge along the back.
The bench was made with rich black walnut wood, showcasing the natural character and distinctive organic sculpted shape of the grain with a continuous flowing contoured seat. While visually striking, the conoid bench was also highly functional as a seating piece. The sculpted seat provides ergonomic support and comfort. The bench is considered a quintessential example of Nakashima's design philosophy and craftsmanship. It exemplifies his reverence for natural materials and processes. As a timeless piece of furniture, this conoid bench would auction at...
Well, I would say at auction, in today's market, this conoid bench, this wonderful conoid bench, would bring between $35,000 and $45,000. Yes.
This unusual book is one of the most special items for book and movie antique lovers because it inspired one of the greatest movies of all time, The Lord of the Rings. But that's not the only special thing about this book. In fact, legend has it, it was one of the rare copies of The Lord of the Rings signed by John Ronald Tolkien. John Tolkien was widely regarded as a great writer and author.
To Professor Tolkien, thanking him for signing it. Unfortunately, soon after that, he died. But I did get a letter back from his publisher.
And he also happens to be the author of this book and another called The Hobbit. Both The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings have gone on to become world-class movies, which is why a signed copy of one of the original books would auction at a price of...
The retail price might be as high as $12,000. Thanks very much indeed for bringing it in.
Thank you.
Today's item is a special piece for sports antique lovers. More specifically, it's a piece of baseball heritage memorabilia in honor of Babe Ruth, who was considered by many to be the greatest baseball player ever. Ruth was a man of the people, and this signed photograph confirms that.
We did a little research on Harry Weber. Harry was a theatrical agent.
Yes, a vaudevillian agent.
A vaudevillian agent, and one of Babe Ruth's very first agents.
But besides being a signed photograph, this item is special for 3 reasons. First, the picture is unusually large, which is uncommon. Second, the picture is one of his earliest, taken when he hadn't yet become very famous.
Would appear with tap dancers and jugglers and comedians, and he would do a little skit. And people would come from all over to see Babe Ruth, and this was a way he could make some extra money at the time.
Finally, even though the picture was signed around the 1920s, it is still in crisp, top-notch condition. Given these reasons, this perfect photograph of one of sports greats would auction at...
I would put an auction estimate of this photo somewhere between $15,000 and $20,000.
Oh my gosh.
If you ever wanted a portrait of your child, this expertly finished painting would be the best model. The portrait is a perfect example of oil on canvas, and although its creator is unknown, it's still a work of art. The attention to detail in the painting confirms the painter's expertise.
Red is exciting, blue is also exciting. This wonderful.
And the face of the child in the portrait is completely original. The painting was likely done around 1838, and this is confirmed thanks to the coral items and gold on the child, which were prized possessions at the time.
She's just decked out. She has 2 coral bracelets, and she's dangling yet another coral necklace.
With its fine finish, this beautiful portrait would retail at the auction price of...
in the neighborhood of $20,000 to $25,000.
Oh my goodness.
We are presented with an ancient silver spoon. This item originally belonged to the guest's mother, and it dates back to the 1380s or the 1390s. A very rare piece featuring a diamond point. In fact, this is known as a diamond point spoon. Although it's not in great condition, it has a thin bowl and has been cracked on the sides, filled with silver solder.
It looks rather bright because it's been polished up. And this little piece here, which is called a diamond point.
Items of this sort found in wonderful condition have been sold in London for a very large sum of money. At auction, this spoon with a diamond point, despite not being in great condition, would sell for...
This one is probably worth somewhere between $10,000 and $20,000.
Wow.
We are presented with a collection of etchings and copper plates, which the guest was involved in the publication of the portfolio.
Now we're showing these are 6 etchings right here by Salvador Dali.
These etchings emerged from the portfolio called La Vida e Sueño by the artist Salvador Dali, a Spanish surrealist artist renowned for his technical skill and strikingly bizarre images in his work.
In 1975, of these subjects, but they were produced by another printmaker based on Dali's designs. They weren't original Dali's.
Interestingly, these etchings came with the artist proofs, which is uncommon, making this unique. Featuring 2 subjects which are straight etchings printed in 2 colors, black and dark green.
And this is just a straight etching printed in 2 colors, the black and the dark brownish green.
And the 2 original etched copper plates with a proof on print, showing crisp plate marks on the inky edges. Still part of this collection, we see another print with 2 colors and an added red color.
You have the 2 original etched copper plates. And I love the proofy aspect of this print where you have these very crisp plate marks with inky edges.
And another print with a green stripe painted by hand and an inscription in French.
And then again on this print, the etching here, you have this green stripe, again in hand.
These items are from the 60s, featuring beautiful prints with artist proofs for each and original copper plates. An overall estimate at auction would be...
So the value on these, I would put at $5,000 each. Overall collection, $80,000 for replacement value.
A burst of inspiration is what brought about this advertisement sign. The sign features a character from a comic strip created by Richard Felton Outcault. Outcault was an American cartoonist considered a key pioneer in the modern comic strip.
In and around 1902, it was Richard Fenton Outcault that came out with the Buster Brown comics.
Buster Brown, the name of the character, along with his dog Tige, became the iconic mascot of the Brown Shoe Company in 1904. This sign boasts bright colors and a striking design. The character is one of the most recognizable shoe signs ever. In excellent condition considering its age, this sign is a true treasure for collectors of vintage advertising and would be worth...
I would estimate it in and around the $5,000 to $7,000 price range.
Oh my Lord.
But for insurance purposes, easily a $10,000 piece, because to try and replace this piece would be very difficult.
Two largest collection of Maundy coins were brought to the show by two guests. Maundy money is a type of commemorative coin issued by the Royal Mint in the United Kingdom on Maundy, Thursday, the day before Good Friday. The coins are made of silver and feature designs that change with each new monarch. The Maundy coins come in denominations of 1 penny, 2 pence to 4 pence, and the number of coins given to each recipient corresponds to the monarch's age. The tradition of distributing Maundy money dates back to the 13th century when the British monarch would wash the feet of the poor and give them food and money in a ceremony on Maundy Thursday. While the foot washing tradition has largely been discontinued, the distribution of Maundy coins continues as a way for the monarch to recognize the service of the community. These coins exemplify a fascinating and historic part of the British numismatic and religious tradition, and would conservatively be valued at...
In these two cabinets, that comes out at between £60,000 to £80,000.
This is a collection of artifacts from the doomed voyage of the Titanic presented by the guest, who acquired them from his grandparents. They were aboard the Carpathia in 1912 when the ship went to rescue some passengers from Titanic after it capsized. One of the items presented is a diary belonging to the guest's grandfather containing an eyewitness account of how the events unfolded. Also displayed is a photograph album with pictures of that fateful day.
You've got the eyewitness photographs, you've got the eyewitness diaries, then you have the letters that were written to your relatives from the survivors who stayed in their cabins.
Yes. Additionally, we have letters written by survivors who were accommodated in the cabin of the guest's grandparents aboard the Carpathia. Lastly, there is a hardtack biscuit that was aboard one of the Titanic's lifeboats. This collection serves as a poignant reminder of the tragic events of the Titanic, and it is no surprise they are estimated to be worth.
In terms of what the Titanic stuff has been selling for, and whether the market is going to continue like it has been, $50,000, $75,000 for all of this stuff, it wouldn't surprise me at all.
Very good.
We are presented with an airplane propeller floor lamp, which the guest's father bought from a flea market. A great piece of modern design with a stunning appearance.
Well, let's dig into a little bit about it. What it is a great piece of modern design. It's just stunning. Looks even better lit up here.
It's incredibly heavy and about 46 inches tall to the base.
Because you're right, it's massive. It's incredibly heavy.
Given the size of the base and the length of the propeller, this item is more than likely from a World War I bomber. It was probably taken off an aircraft that went out of service in the 1920s and then converted into a lamp sometime in the 1950s, given the design aesthetic.
You see the trench art coming out of World War I. We see boxes made out of propellers. Never seen a floor lamp.
Considering the two segments, an airplane propeller and a floor lamp, in great condition, it will have an auction value of...
I think a conservative auction estimate would be between $2,000 and $3,000.
Wow.
The guest presented a gift from her husband, which has been a bone of contention for years because she thought he paid too much for it.
So how much was too much?
$2,500, which 20 years ago, it's like, oh my goodness.
This is a French lamp made of gilt bronze modeled after Louis Fuller, an American dancer and pioneer of modern dance and theatrical lighting techniques. This lamp with its beautiful glow was crafted by the French sculptor Raoul Larche. It depicts the amazing movements of the dancer.
And this really fits that bill with the wonderful warm glow of the light. And she's really known for her sort of billowing, gauzy outfits that she wore. And you can see there's the amazing movement.
Featuring fine details of the drapery as it flows across her body, articulated beautifully.
Why don't we put it on and we'll see what it looks like lit up. It has this beautiful glow. It's a French lamp. The sculptor is Raoul Larche, who was working in France in the latter part of the 19th century.
This stunning piece, made of gilt bronze with a perfect glow when lit up, has a foundry mark and will have a price of...
I would say for auction, I would estimate it between $25,000 and $35,000.
Are you kidding me? Oh my goodness.
A gift from an emperor should be worth a fortune. The guest presented a tea service, a gift to his great-great-grandfathers, a token of appreciation from the Tsar of Russia in 1892.
1888 or 1890, there was a huge famine in Russia, and he raised $35,000 through his preaching efforts and his evangelistic efforts.
This gorgeous silver tea service has a quality worthy of an imperial gift, made by Ovchinnikov, a renowned maker in Moscow. The technique used to make the tea service is enameling, called Cloisonne enamel.
It was made by Ovchinnikov. You can see the name right here. It's a little hard to read. A little hard to read because it's in Cyrillic, of course.
Although there's no exact indication that it came from the Tsar himself, there's an imperial warrant at the bottom. Considering the service as the beautiful thing it is for tea, this complete tea service made with enameling will sell for...
The market value would be about $10,000 today.
We don't know whether we're scared or very happy.
More than you thought. More than you thought.
This fantastic painting really catches the eye. It was picked up on the side of the road by the guest's father in Oklahoma in the early 1960s. Interestingly, these two paintings were the works of Eugene Neuhaus, an American visual artist and illustrator.
He thought that they would be something my mother would enjoy. She was an artist, and he took them home to her, and she cherished them until she passed away in 2005.
The first picture, titled Christmas Morning, depicts two kids in Christmas dresses with happy expressions. However, these paintings have been restored by the guest, which slightly affects their value. At auction, this painting is estimated to be worth
Probably sell within a range of $3,000 to $5,000 at auction. Okay.
The second painting features a girl in a colorful dress and a hat. Although restored, it would fetch a value of...
I think an auction estimate of between $1,500 and $2,500 would be appropriate on that, with an insurance value of $3,000. Okay.
In Connecticut, the guest's brother coached a Little League team, and one of the players' dads, who worked for Sports Illustrated, gave him sports memorabilia from his store. As a lifelong Chicago Bears fan, the guest received this jersey from his brother. This jersey belonged to Gale Sayers and is one of his jerseys worn during away games. Gale Sayers, known as the Kansas Comet, was one of the greatest players in NFL history. His career was tragically cut short by a knee injury, yet he became the youngest man ever elected to the Hall of Fame. This Chicago Bears jersey is from 1969 to 1970, prime years for Sayers, and the tagging is perfect for authenticating it. It's from King O'Shea, the Bears manufacturer back then.
What have you been doing with it?
It's been folded up inside a box in my closet at my parents' house. When I opened it up and my wife saw it, she was like, "Is that your high school football jersey?" And I, of course, told her no, and she was like, "We just need to turn that into a rag." And
the jersey displays heavy use, dirt, sweat, blood, and repairs.
I put it back in the box, and it's been probably sitting in that box now, well, about 16 years.
Collectors adore these battle scars. They tell a story. Despite the missing zero on one sleeve, it's still incredibly valuable.
This jersey, I would estimate at least $20,000 to $30,000, Roger.
Updated value of the jersey is $25,000 to $35,000. This is a Rolex Day-Date watch, bought in 1964, which gained fame as the presidential model when Lyndon B. Johnson received one as a gift. He bought it in Hong Kong during his army service in Korea for $1,000.
You took very good care of it. This is crisp, it's clean. How often did you wear it?
Probably 3 or 4 days.
The box is made of ostrich skin, sealed by Japanese customs, and it has the hang tag and Rolex oyster tag.
You have the original timing paper. It's got your serial number for the watch. Over here, you have the little catalog.
Watch was timed in 1962 and bought in '64. Watches could sit in retail stores for years before being sold. It's 18-karat white gold with a pie pan dial. Foil hang tag alone is worth $500. The complete set's retail value is...
And the watch is in such great condition. A retail price on this is going to be $20,000.
Oh, my. Well, it kept up with the times.
A suit worn by Arthur, Paul Newman's brother, while standing in for Paul in the 1969 film Winning, was recently appraised. It was found to have significant historical and sentimental value. Arthur and Paul looked and sounded very similar, allowing Arthur to substitute for Paul seamlessly. This was particularly helpful in scenes requiring high-performance racing. Arthur filled in for Paul in about 25 to 30 films. He was also a respected member of the Directors Guild of America. The suit, tailored to match Paul's, is tied to the film that sparked his racing passion. Its association with fast cars and professional drivers boosts its value significantly. Arthur's contribution to Paul's career was also featured in the 2015 documentary Winning. This emphasizes the suit's value from a pivotal moment in Paul Newman's career. While examining the condition of the item, the appraiser said,
I think an auction estimate would probably be around $20,000 to $30,000.
Wonderful.
For Paul's, I think an estimate at auction would be at least $80,000 to $120,000.
Wow. They both would be very happy.
If you were going to insure this, I would probably put it at least $50,000.
Child's desk from an estate sale reveals a blend of genuine antique craftsmanship and modern alterations. The desk features unique sliding drawers and a fold-down writing surface, characteristic of 18th century Massachusetts design.
Well, New England makes a lot of sense because this stylistically is a Massachusetts child's desk on frame.
This desk was purchased by the guest who was drawn to its original look and charming features. Though the desk was originally crafted with authentic white pine, closer inspection shows newer parts have been added to the base. Marks made to simulate wear and mismatched wood pieces indicate some deception by the desk's remaker.
The person that made this was trying to deceive. Part of the deception here was that he used 3 pieces of old wood, and all the rest of this is fresh, brand new wood.
The top section is genuine 18th century, but the base likely dates to the 1920s to 1940s. With its combined antique and newer elements added to it, this well-crafted desk would have an auction value of...
I'd put an auction estimate on this piece of about $1,500 to $2,500. Okay.
This early 19th century lap desk that serves as a portable office from a bygone era was inherited by this guest from her grandmother's estate. Inside this desk are an original inkwell and a red wax seal that has candle burns, which are testament to its historical use. There's also a booklet dated 1830 that reveals the industrious life of an American businessman called John R. Wilder, who was based in Savannah, Georgia.
November 9th, 1830, and inside we see how industrious and hardworking he was. All of these debits, he was training to be an accountant.
Wilder's calligraphy book, dated 1835, and a map hint at his journey to Savannah, where he began with only a silver dollar.
Fall River, January 1835, he moved to Fall River, and inside he practiced his penmanship. He's written down these thoughts and certain poems down in this little booklet.
The silver dollar and an 1860 receipt from Central Railroad also add to this desk's rich narrative. This desk truly can be said to be a historical time capsule, and as such, its estimated value would be
probably worth in the area of between $3,000 and $5,000.
That's fabulous.
Set before us is a stunning landscape painting. Our guest inherited this masterpiece from his mother. His aunt received it from the illustrious painter Robert Wood. Robert Wood was an American landscape painter.
Robert Wood is an interesting artist, a long-lived artist. He born in 1889, lived to 1979, about 90 years.
This painting depicts a serene landscape accentuated by beautiful bluebonnets. The bluebonnet is the Texas state flower. This is an exceptionally beautiful piece in great condition. Due to its uniqueness and significance to Texans, it would fetch an impressive auction value of
I would have to put an auction estimate on this of $15,000 to $25,000 and probably expect to get more than that at auction.
Oh, wow.
The guest brought a salt-glazed stoneware water cooler made in 1830, which was acquired from his aunt's home after she died, to the show. Salt glaze, or salt glazed pottery, is pottery made in Baltimore, Maryland. Baltimore was the biggest stoneware producing area in the south of the Mason-Dixon line. The salt-glazed cooler is usually stoneware pottery with a ceramic glaze of glossy, translucent, and slightly orange peel-like texture.
See that shininess and the kind of like a orange peel surface? That's the salt.
Which is formed by throwing common salt into the kiln during the higher temperature part of the firing process.
Coated it and protected the liquids from coming out.
Sodium from the salt reacts with silica in the clay body to form a glassy coating of sodium silicate. It is molded in an ovoid or pear-shaped body in a blue-gray color with hand-incised decorations such as geometric patterns, floral motifs, or the potter's mark, and a spigot or faucet near the base to dispense the water. This piece, in excellent, well-preserved state, would conservatively be valued at
This easily at auction is worth in a range of $3,000 to $5,000.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah.
Imagine folks seeing these toys in your living room as an adult. Many of them wouldn't know how special they are. These toys are called Buddy L toys after their manufacturer.
Of making fenders for full-size cars. And he was so tired of seeing his son's toys getting so broken up that he started making toys.
And they were some of the finest toys ever made due to one predominant fact.
They were made by a company called Buddy L, who probably made some of the finest, what we call pressed steel toys ever made.
Which was that their steel construction was among the most solid in the toy-making industry.
This is what we call the flat-top Roadster, and this is called the Roadster Pickup.
Another special fact about the toys is that Buddy L was known for making trucks, but these toys were one of their finest sets of full-size toy cars ever made. Due to their strong steel make, these toys at auction today would retail at
I would fully expect at auction to bring $1,600 to $1,700.
That's excellent. That makes them worth saving.
It's worth saving.
If you showed these photographs to children nowadays, they would think these were pictures of just any cowboy. But these photographs serve as pieces of American history and patriotism.
European royalty by the dozen. He was a great popular hero of America's late 19th century.
They are photographs of Buffalo Bill. Buffalo Bill was a showman and former soldier who was one of the popular heroes of the late 19th century.
Who came forward at the end of the Indian Wars period. The Northern Plains Indians had been pacified by the United States government.
He's most famous for killing 60 buffaloes, which earned him his name. These photographs shown here are photographs from different spans of Buffalo Bill's career. As a respected figure of the late 19th century, these photographs would auction today at
So we've got a total value here of $2,000 to $2,500.
Wow.
Are you surprised?
I'm surprised.
Many tribes and regions are known for their rug-making prowess. However, this Kuba rug adds more perspective on the creativity of many cultures. This Kuba rug is from the Caucasus region comprising Armenia, Georgia, and Azerbaijan.
Normally you would see these called Dagestan, but because of this light blue selvage, cotton selvage, or end finish, it would be actually attributed to the Kuba area.
And it reveals the vast creativity that exists among the people in these areas. We can see the fine finish of the rug, which when coupled with the intricate trellis design with a flower, gives it an appealing look.
It's a nice trellis design with a flower, and each enclosed by serrated leaves. And actually what caught my eye when you were standing in line is the unusual border.
The rug was also hand-woven around 1880. Given its appealing look, this rug today would retail at the auction price of
No kidding.
So in terms of value, something like this would actually sell around $3,500 at auction.
Purchased by this guest at a Goodwill store some years back, these plates are hand-painted and created by the renowned Copeland Spode Company.
and I knew it's fine porcelain.
Yes, they are made by Spode or Copeland's, which is the same company. They were originally known as Spode, and in the 19th century the name changed several times and became Copeland.
The plates feature intricate designs, including colorful birds and detailed insects, which enhances their uniqueness.
Everything from ants.
The second set showcases beautiful hand-painted scenes of lakes and the famous Billingsley rose design.
Named after a 19th century artist whose last name was Billingsley, who originated this design of a specific type of rose.
Each plate is marked with the Copeland Spode name and a date code, revealing their production years of 1892 and 1917. The exceptional quality and decorative nature of these plates makes them highly valuable. The total value of this collection of plates, with their intricate design and style, would be valued at.
So the total value of all the plates on the table would be between $1,300 and $1,950.
That was a very good day for me.
A Chinese bronze censer from the 1800s is brought in to be appraised. It had a message written in Chinese, which meant that it was recreated, but with regard to the original maker. It was specifically made in the late 18th or 19th century. The quality of the casting is still very good, but the only claws it had in it had to be polished. If it was not polished, it would have sold for $6,000 to $9,000. But as it is, a fair auction price would be.
Today, if you sold it at auction, you're going to sell it between $2,500 and $4,000.
Oh, is that right?
If it had not been polished, it would have been worth likely in the $6,000 to $9,000 range.
Given to her by her mother, this guest is here with a doll with several heads. This doll was made by an artist known for his specialty in doll making called Kestner in Germany. He started making dolls very early when porcelain heads were in vogue and later moved on to bisque dolls like the one presented. One wonderful thing about this doll is that it is in its original German labeled box, unlike others with English printed labels, because the Germans made money from selling dolls to the Americans. You would think that this is a salesman sample because of the original label, but that's not so. So, this is a luxurious toy for a child and was called the Wonder Child and was sold as a set. This doll was made in 1910 with the idea of giving a child the chance to have 4 dolls at once. Hence, a child can unhook one head and put another, but this was not very easy, so sometimes they came as individual dolls. This is a Kestner 171, and the individual doll standing has a mohair wig, her eyes can sleep, and she has a little open mouth with teeth. Many collectors now prefer dolls in the box with painted eyes and closed mouths. However, for this doll set, an auction estimate would be.
And the value in an auction would be between $6,000 and $8,000.
Okay,
yeah.
Great. That's
so
wonderful.
You've got a very valuable little doll.
Okay, wonderful.
The guest brought in these lovely dolls given to her by her mother before she passed. They are 3 little pigs made by Madame Alexander in 1939. Still in their true colors, composition, original labels, marks, and with their original curved tails, these dolls are a beautiful piece to the eyes. It is difficult to find such items in good composition with their pants and gloves still intact, and their shoes have not fallen off over the years. Madame Alexander is a prolific doll maker, still alive and active in her craft. These pigs are hard to find in good condition. Therefore, in a doll shop, they would sell at.
These 3 little pigs would sell for about $750 a piece.
Oh, wow. That's wonderful.
Very nice treasure.
Thank you.
Gifted to her by her aunt, this guest is in the show with a magical piece from the Qing dynasty in China. On closer look, you would notice the circular shape in the colors pale green, referred to as celadon. Also, the surface is carved and the undulating pattern of clouds or waves is populated by dragons. The dragons look intertwined as it seems they are weaving in and out of the clouds or waves. Looking at the back, there is a crosshatch pattern that covers the entire surface. This is a reference to a ritual jade object that was included in burials as far back as 3000 to 3400 AD until the 2nd century AD. It was included in burials because the circular shape, called a bi, has a connotation in Chinese culture as the sky, and another form was included known as a kong, which is the rectangular vessel that connotes the earth. So it is believed that it was the connection between our earthly existence and our heavenly existence. Though not confirmed, it seems this object was first made in the 18th century and was later revived again in the 20th century with references to earlier Chinese history. Because it requires more research, a conservative but reasonable amount would be
More reasonable amount would be $15,000 to $20,000
Easy peasy.
at auction.
Oh, goodness.
This is a Frank Lloyd Wright Henredon Heritage Furniture Collection bought in the 1950s. It was made in August 1955 as seen on the furniture. Indeed, this was designed by Frank Lloyd Wright, who was a well-known American architect of the 20th century. Particularly, this furniture was made on a commercial level, unlike other Frank Lloyd furniture that are made for houses he built. However, this piece has some sort of love look to it. Hence, it can be repaired to improve its value. Plus, it has the original fabric under this beautiful blue surface. Another way you know this is designed by Frank Lloyd Wright is by these wonderful motifs on the outside, a classic identifier found on all his furniture. The most valuable of this collection is the coffee table, which is estimated at about $8,000. So, the three pieces at an auction would bring in,
I think the three pieces at auction would bring somewhere between $15,000 and $20,000.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
This is a Scottish clock made circa 1830 to 1835. The reason it's believed to have been made at that date is because earlier painted dials have these outer minute rankings around the dial, and the second form of a painted dial would just be at the quarters. These kinds of clocks are the last of tall clocks as they fell out of fashion between 1830 to 1840. This clock features a pretty case that stands out on cutout feet and has a panel. Then it has an inset paneled door, and it comes to the bonnet, which is called broken arch or swan's neck pediment. But it has been repainted using Chinois painting and is deliberately made to look old. It is in great shape and very decorative with a fully painted dial. In the spandrel areas around the case, countries such as Ireland, Wales, England, and Scotland are represented on the clock. Furthermore, in the arch of the dials, there is a unicorn representing Scotland and a lion representing England. At the middle of the case it says Union, referring to the union in 1707 between the Scottish Parliament and English Parliament, resulting in England. It is more of a decorative value clock than a piece for actual sale because it has been repainted, and it is better to keep it that way. However, in a retail store, this clock would probably sell at
This clock would sell probably in the $2,500 range.
Okay, we'll just hang on to it.
I don't blame you.
A sparkling testament to the art of adornment is what this collection of items represents. Our guest showcased this collection of pin brooches, which she collected over the last 15 years. Included in this collection are a variety of pins, brooches.
You've got all sorts of names represented, countries represented, and also time periods.
Such as the Bohemian garnets and a Norwegian enameled piece, among others. These items span from the 1890s up to the 1980s. The guest had taken her time to attach the items to a mannequin, making it easy for us to see them all, and also adding to their beauty. At auction, this fantastic collection of pin brooches is estimated to be worth.
We came up with somewhere between $15,000 and $25,000. I know that's a lot of
I know I
different
can't say
ranges.
what I'm thinking in my mind, but...
What? Yes, you can. What are you thinking about? Oh, no, you can't say that, Mary.
This helmet belonged to the guest's grandfather, Wesley Winkler, who served in World War I. Winkler was part of the 55th U.S. Engineers, constructing railways in France from 1918 to 1919, and patriotic symbols painted by a fellow soldier.
Well, your taste is excellent.
Thank you.
The artwork featured on this helmet is of exceptional quality and is quite rare.
This is the nicest World War I painted helmet that I've ever seen.
Unlike typical unit insignias that are quite bland, this helmet's elaborate design significantly increases its value. A World War I helmet with this kind of design and its symbol as an item of honor and camaraderie would be worth.
This is a helmet that I would expect a retail value of $2,000 to $2,500.
Wow. Wow.
Chinese silver tea set with a storied past is what is presented today before us. The tea set was acquired by the guest's mother at a tag sale about 45 years ago. The tea set, dating to around 1910, is adorned with intricate dragon motifs, a symbol of good fortune in China. The dragons are depicted chasing a flaming pearl, an integral part of the set's design, often left blank for engraving.
It also forms part of the composition because the dragon's always chasing it. So it's quite a nice sort of decorative motif.
The raised silver tendrils create a striking 3D effect, showcasing exceptional craftsmanship.
Tendrils coming from the dragon's snout are raised above the bodies.
The market for Chinese silver is robust, making this piece particularly valuable. This tea set with its Chinese design and style is quite a sight, and at auction would be worth.
I think at auction this would be $5,000 to $7,000.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
This guest possesses a unique collection of 15 posters from the 1984 Olympics. The guest brought 6 out of the 15 posters created by renowned contemporary artists of the show.
Closer to you, a collage by David Hockney, Richard Diebenkorn down by your side, in the middle, the great and inimitable Roy Lichtenstein.
Some of the notable artists whose work are here to mention, but a few include John Baldessari. Baldessari was an American conceptual artist known for his work featuring found photography and appropriated images. Another artist that we mention whose work is featured here is Sam Francis. Francis is an American painter and printmaker. This portfolio is rare due to its complete set, which was a first for Olympic game representation. Unlike other Olympic posters, this set features diverse artistic styles rather than a single designer. At auction, the total collection of these Olympic posters with diverse artistic styles from well-renowned artists would be worth.
Auction, they would sell alone for between $5,000 and $7,000.
Wow.
Don't bring them over.
This is a carbon tetrachloride fire grenade.
That's the first reaction when most folks see these antique extinguishers. Yes, they might look beautiful, but they're more dangerous than you might think, hence their name, fire grenades. These fire grenades were used in the 19th and 20th centuries to extinguish fires, and in contrast to what many collectors might think, they're not appraised anymore.
They used to be collected in the past, but not anymore, and in many states it's actually illegal to sell them.
In fact, it's advised that when you see one of these extinguishers, they should be returned to the local fire department. Assuming they were auctioned, how much do you think these would retail for? Looks like a normal teddy bear is more special than you think. The first reason is the most obvious. This bear is not the largest of bear dolls that one would see.
It's what's called a Schuco Yes-No bear.
The other reason is that for a bear doll created in 1954, it has stood the test of time. But perhaps the most exciting part of this bear is that it can talk. It's able to say yes and no, and that's why it's called a Schuco Yes-No bear.
And I want to show you because it says yes and it says no.
There are also many funny faces at the back of the bear, which is an exciting feature. Because of its top condition, this bear, at an auction, would retail at
pay in the $500 to $600 range.
Why?
We set our sights on this beautiful oil painting, inherited by the guest from his grandparents in Virginia.
Pretty sure, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it came down from my grandfather. And I don't know where he found it.
Where were they living, your grandparents?
They were living down in the Virginia area.
The painting is the work of the American Impressionist painter Walter Launt Palmer, regarded as the American painter of winter, for his traditional winter landscape scenes. This piece is a very typical example of Palmer's work, created during the early 1900s, despite having undergone a reasonably aggressive refurbishment.
Strip the varnish, clean the painting, and then subsequently revarnish the painting. They were really aggressive. It was over-cleaned.
Its quality and attention to detail are exquisite, showcasing the brilliance of the artist. The worth of this piece is estimated at
$20,000 to $30,000.
Wow, that's great.
Today's segments showcase an extraordinary collection of musical instruments with rich histories. Our guest acquired these musical instruments with great passion. First, we have a stunning 1924 F4 Gibson mandolin, boasting a flawless red sunburst finish. Next, the 1922 Vega Fairbanks Tubaphone No. 9 banjo, the epitome of tubaphone craftsmanship.
Tubaphone No. 9, which is their highest grade tubaphone banjo.
Despite aftermarket enhancements, the banjo retains its exquisite hand engravings and intricate carvings. Extensive customizations done on the banjo has adjusted its current value to
About $5,000.
Sadly, this banjo would have fetched a higher amount if it had remained in its original condition. Meanwhile, the untouched mandolin, in its pristine state, is valued at
$7,500 today. They're both really fine instruments.
These instruments stand as a testament to exceptional craftsmanship and musical legacy. In threads of silk, a tale is told. Through every stitch, a story unfolds. In the family for many years, the paintings always hung over the buffet. The owner got it after their mother passed away. As kids, they saw 1811, L, G, and SK written in black and gold on the glass. The main part of the painting is Lady Grey, made by Sarah Kenton, the owner's great-great-great-grandma, in 1811 when she was pregnant with her first child. She probably lived in either Philadelphia or New Orleans at the time. Sadly, the original frame got damaged in a house fire in the 1960s, and some parts of the painting had to be fixed. The owner says the painting is made of silk-on-silk embroidery, which was common in the early 19th century. Although they first thought it was from England, it's more likely from America, maybe Philadelphia, because of the kind of wood used in the frame. The owner is thankful for the expert's help, especially in figuring out how much it's worth. While examining the condition of the item, the appraiser said,
$40,000 and $50,000.
Great Scott.
Thank you so much for bringing this in. This was a real treat to get to see.
Thank you for your expertise. You're kidding. Oh, it's great.
The guest brought a collection of jewelry by an artist named Karen Margaret Johnson from the 1970s. She called her work sculptured jewelry, and there was a lot of beadwork on it. The guest mother saw her at a fine craft show and decided to promote her work with the help of like-minded people. In the process, the guest's mother amassed quite a collection of several dozen pieces made by her. These sculptural jewelry pieces of the 1970s were wonderful and handmade from brass. The 1970s were famous for big, bold jewelry pieces and nothing dainty, and these pieces were a great representation of that era. The guest's mother bought these pieces between $20 to $28 range, which was quite cheap even for the 1970s. This beautifully sculpted, handmade brass jewelry was appraised at
If we did the necklace with the matching bracelet of $1,000 to $1,500, the bracelet $300 to $500, and then the other set, it's in a similar category as this set. Again, $1,000 to $1,500.
You're kidding. Oh, it's great.
Eric Slater's two captivating woodblock prints exude the charm of the 1920s and 1930s, featuring local scenes. Eric Slater was a great local artist from Seaford who studied at Hastings. These prints are intricately crafted, with each color representing a separate woodblock, meticulously carved in a line to create a harmonious final image. One of the prints, titled Morning Calm, vividly depicts the entrance to New Haven Harbor. Another print portrays the New Haven Coast Guard station, showcasing Slater's delicate artistry in capturing local landmarks. The guest's interest in Slater's work began when she inherited a painting from her uncle.
Just absolutely fascinated by it, the clouds, the colours, and the perspective.
Both signed prints, part of an edition of about 50, are not valued a lot, but valued at
you probably pick these up for, I would think, maximum £300 or £400 each.
On display today is a collection of items from the Second World War. The guest's husband was a navigator plotter during the Second World War. We have a pair of boots worn by the guest's husband, and what's interesting about these boots is that he had them on when he parachuted off the Vulcan airplane because it caught fire during a training exercise. Another item presented is the parachute handle that the guest's husband pulled, which saved his life. Lastly, we are presented with a drawing that was made by the son of a farmer who rescued the guest's husband after he landed from the Vulcan plane crash. Depicted in the drawing is an ablaze Vulcan plane and a parachuting figure. This collection is a reminder of the tragic tales of the Second World War. It is estimated to be worth
Commercial point of view, the value is negligible, probably not even £20.
No.
But from your point of view, they are priceless.
Yes.
Won't have to depend on just Social Security, I guess.
We are presented with a very rare collection of rhinoceros horn cup carvings. Our guests have been collecting these items since the 1970s from private individuals and antique shops.
This one and this one I've pretty much traded and some cash to a good friend of mine in Dallas.
These carvings were made circa the late 17th century to the early 18th century. Included in this collection is a cup adorned with a dragon design on the handle and a band of detailed carving on the center section. Another cup displayed has short feet for support and a pie-edge appearance. We also have an archaic cup that was made for ritual purposes. Also exhibited is a cup featuring carvings of the Immortals around its sides. Lastly, we are presented with a cup carved in the form of a lotus. However, the cup's stand has been replaced over time.
It's carved hardwood, it's not rhinoceros horn, but it complements very much the lotus form.
Given that these items are rare and beautifully carved, they are estimated to be worth
between $1 million and $1,500,000 for this group.
Serious?
I'm serious.
Whoa. Well, I won't have to depend on just Social Security, I guess.
That is a complete surprise.
The guest inherited a beautiful, star-shaped brooch from her great-great-grandmother. It is identified as a late 19th century piece, likely crafted around 1880. The brooch's unique feature was a combination of various gemstones. The center star featured a stunning pink sapphire, a rarity as sapphires are commonly known to be blue. The pink sapphire is of exceptional quality with its well-saturated, almost purpley pink color. Surrounding the pink sapphire are 2 carats of yellow diamonds, followed by another layer of white diamonds. The brooch was also crafted from 18-karat gold and showcased intricate detailing in the cut of the gemstones. There is the presence of an ingenious retractable pendant loop, allowing the brooch to be worn as a pendant as well. The only caveat was the lack of a signature or hallmark to identify the maker. Despite this, the estimated value of the brooch is to be a staggering, with an insurance value of
Right around $80,000. Wow, that is a complete surprise.
A piece of traveling furniture designed for a sea captain, likely ordered in Canton during the trading season, features a finished top with a tambour mechanism and a detachable top bookcase part.
Then we have the top bookcase part, and you can see that the top here is finished.
This modular design allowed the captain to use it as a full bookcase at home or in China, and as a working desk aboard his ship. These Chinese characters identifying the drawer further confirm its Chinese origin. The Guest family has owned this piece for between 5 and 7 generations. This amazing furniture includes practical features such as a till and a removable compartment for ink and writing. Additionally, handles on the sides make it easy to carry and transport. Given its rarity and well-documented history, the item is valued, in today's market, between
$20,000 and $25,000.
That's nice.
For a family piece.
That's unbelievable. I had no idea.
A Philadelphia side chair, believed to be from around 1760, was brought to light. A masterpiece of Rococo elegance, this mahogany creation whispers tales of craftsmanship in its intricate curves. Notable features include a rocaille shell, volutes, acanthus leaves, scrolled terminals, and a trapezoidal seat. Its mahogany stripes were prominently displayed on the seat rail and splat. Turning the chair revealed drastically sloped rear legs, adding to its aesthetic appeal. Obtained for overdue rent by the guest, inherited from a late aunt by their former roommate, authenticity doubts but cherished. Its originality, including the marked seat frame and popular 2-part glue blocks, underscored its historical significance.
Absolutely original. It's an 18th century, 1770 seat frame with a reproduction crewel stitch on it.
This Philadelphia side chair at auction has a potential worth of
$15,000.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, $15,000 to about $18,000.
That's unbelievable. I had no idea.
This guest's great-great-aunt created a remarkable totem of American history. During the 1850s and 1860s, she traveled to the Washington area to collect autographs, compiling an album of signatures from many important figures in 19th century America. The guest inherited the album from his father. The autographs in this album include those of great political figures, notably Abraham Lincoln, Sam Houston, and Andrew Johnson. It also contains the signature of the father of American music, Stephen Collins Foster. Despite being in pretty rough shape, this truly wonderful autograph album would sell at auction for
$6,000 to $8,000.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
The appraiser visited the Jailhouse Museum in Boise, Idaho, to appraise some prison-related items. The first item was a ball and chain with a cuff and lock for each ankle, discovered on the penitentiary grounds and thought to have been left behind by a prisoner during a prison break. Weighing between 15 to 20 pounds and based on their hand-forged construction, the appraiser estimated that the chain was made between the late 19th and early 20th century.
One like this, without the cuffs and locks, would probably bring around $500 retail. A complete example with the locks and the cuffs for each ankle might bring as much as $1,000 retail.
The second item was an Oregon boot, or Gardner shackle, named after its inventor, J.C. Gardner, designed to throw the prisoner off balance. Made of nickel-plated steel, this seemingly innocuous item could actually cause serious damage to the hip. Weighing between 10 to 30 pounds, this boot was likely made in 1876. A charm for collectors and those interested in the history and development of such items, the appraiser estimated its price to be
$2,000 to $7,000 retail.
The third item was a medal won by Idaho State Penitentiary guards in a shooting competition. Dated 1895 with Penitentiary Guard written on the top, the medal was a typical jeweler-made piece from the late 19th century. Made of silver or brass, the appraiser estimated this rather unusual piece to be
$1,500 to $2,000.
Originating from California, this Rolex Day-Date wristwatch, an earlier model dating back to approximately 1964, was given as a gift to the guest by the guest's uncle. This 18-karat gold timepiece, a testament to craftsmanship, glimmers with a legacy forged in every meticulously preserved detail. Its original bracelet, case, bezel, and movement, each whispering tales of epochs past. Preserving history's whispers, it cradles the original chronometer bulletin with care, nestled alongside a day-date booklet, a timeless relic copyrighted in 1964, a treasure rare. Despite a crack in the acrylic crystal, the watch remains housed in its original red leather box, alongside a calendar from 1965.
When we saw the crack on the crystal there, it's an acrylic crystal. It needs to be fixed. If you don't replace it, it will not be water resistant.
Highlighting its status as a cherished and valuable family heirloom, the value that it could fetch at auction is
in the $18,000 to $20,000 range.
You're kidding. Geez, I think there was more value in the silver than that.
The guest brought in a squash blossom necklace and a turquoise bracelet they had found on the side of the road 35 years ago. Having turned it into the authorities and advertised it with no success, the guest decided to keep the jewelry. However, she was curious about its origins and potential value. The item is identified as a Navajo-made tourist-quality jewelry, dating back to the 1960s or 1970s. This era witnessed a surge in mass-produced Native American-inspired jewelry aimed at tourists. It is a squash blossom necklace which extends from here to the Crescent Naha. The bracelet, however, is composed of 3 medallions of turquoise. While the necklace and bracelet were crafted from silver, the turquoise stones had been treated to enhance their color and stability. This treatment, while common in commercially produced pieces, lessened their value compared to natural turquoise. The estimated combined retail value of the piece is
Maybe $1,500. You're kidding. Geez, I think there was more value in the silver than that.
Yes, grandmother Pauline, who studied both math and art, attended Newcomb College and was taught by Ellsworth Woodward, for whom she received several treasured artworks. The Woodward brothers, Ellsworth and William, moved to New Orleans as teens, immersing in the local art scene. By 1890, Ellsworth was the first dean of the Newcomb Art School, and both brothers helped found the school and Newcomb Pottery. Pauline's collection includes a pastel sketch by William Woodward, depicting her grandmother. This collection also includes a watercolor of the Newcomb College campus, valued lower due to market preference. However, the highlight is an oil painting from 1917 showcasing the Newcomb College chapel behind a fountain. Emphasizing its artistic and historical importance, at auction, this quintessential piece by Ellsworth could bring
$30,000 and $50,000. Ooh, that's more than I thought.
Really? That's awesome.
This guest received this painting as payment for services rendered to his banker.
Later in life, and when he got sick, I went and done some work on his house for him. When I went in to get paid, he had this sitting on the floor in front of his fireplace.
It was painted by the British-born American artist Frank Mackay Tresidder. The painting depicts an oil field during the oil boom in Glenpool, which started around the 1900s when the painting would have been made. Showcasing the artist's bold brushwork and meticulous attention to detail, it is an early depiction of an oil field and an American topographical landscape before development. Bearing the signature of this renowned Mormon artist, the value of this oil painting is estimated at
$15,000 to $20,000. Really?